Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Johngy or Else podcast, coming to you from Cassopolis, Michigan, on Stone Lake. I am who else but Tommy Else, as always, coming to you from Skokie, Illinois, the man on the beat, the manufactured new media champion, Mr. John Robleski.
Is it necessary to take a
I,
cheap shot like that?
I'm just clarifying
It's not manufactured.
before you go running around telling everybody, because I know this is the first time we've really had a show just the two of us to talk since you got your little belt and everything now. So I
I'm
just
taking umbrage at your little backhand cheap shots. Did I ever denigrate any of your big nut challenge? Did I take a shot at that? You
no,
beat Scotty
you
Steiner who ate one nut and bailed out. Did I
hey,
say it about that?
no, I never bragged about it ever though either.
And when have I bragged
I was
about
never like,
this?
yeah, I did it, man. I get no, I was glad I survived it, and that was about the extent of it. You know, you're the one who made a trophy out of the thing. You just this guy loves a participation award. This guy loves the
No, I
participation.
love supporting my friends. A concept that you're not familiar with.
Hmm. I see. I see. So how are you today, there, John? What's good? Are you having a busy day?
No, as I mentioned earlier, I've been battling with the cable company for the last, well, all day today, but for the last like 2 weeks. The
What's
cable in my bedroom, every like it restarts, whatever every day, and then like the last couple of weeks, it's been taking forever to restart, and then the last couple of days, it's not, or the last like 4 days, it hasn't I've had nothing in my bedroom on cable, and I've been talking to them on and off for 2 weeks, and I know you're smirking because I just said nothing in my bedroom.
yes?
Your
So
infantile
hey,
mind,
I didn't. Your
your
words, not
infantile
mine.
mind.
Your
So,
words, not mine. I
so
didn't
the thing
say.
that bugs me is 2 weeks ago when I first called them, I said, I moved in here 5 years ago. It's the same first box. It's the first box I ever had. I should probably just come in and get a new box. Oh, no, that's not the issue. And I've been on the phone with them for countless hours, going back and forth, trying to fix things. And then today, do you know what the solution was? Would you like to take a guess?
Let me guess. You probably need a new box.
I need a new box.
Oh
I
man.
drove up to the place, got a new box. 15 minutes later, I had it hooked up in my place, and the cable's working fine now.
Now, can you tell us the provider that you're battling with?
Xfinity. And I have
Yeah,
no choice because it comes with my condo association fees.
yeah. I haven't had like legit cable since like 2003. Um, but everyone I know that deals with Comcast, Xfinity, or whatever the hell they call themselves, it's just a customer service nightmare. They're like, when it works great and it's really good, but it's like when it doesn't work, it's just an absolute nightmare every time to try to get things up and running and working the right way again. And so I'm glad I don't have to deal with it, but I hear a lot of people talking about them. So,
Well, it's
but and
amazing.
a lot of it's the same situation as you, in that it's just that's the only thing they can get where they're at. So
The thing that amazes me is apparently I had like a team of like 50 people, the people working on this. I talked to no less than 10 different people, and because they'll call me back and go
yeah,
like, well, this is, Joe, the technician, and, you should do this. I go, well, the last guy said not to do that. Well, yeah, but see, when the service call comes in and blah, 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 and so it goes to me and I'm the next tech. And so this is what I suggest. And then like 2 hours later, Barbara calls me and says, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. Do this. So
yeah.
it's just been like one like cluster after another. I'm hoping that now it's solved, but we'll see.
Well, I'm sure many people out there can relate with your frustration. It's
Feel my
I
pain.
I I get my internet through AT&T, and for the most part, I will say I've been usually pretty happy with anything that I had to go through. It's gotten better over time. I've also had way less issues too. So maybe just the service has been better, but on the rare occasion where I actually needed to call and find out what the hell's going on, they usually are able to get it. Honestly, the only times anything really major goes down is when they do need to like put in a new box or a new router or something like that, and that's it. It's rarely something I can fix on my end. It's something that just crapped out or something. So, but yeah, it's within a day or so they get somebody out there. I mean, they're pretty good about it. So,
Yeah,
I
well, I had the same service in my house for 25-ish years when I lived in the house. And I could like maybe 5 times had an issue in 25 years. Like more than like obviously the cable goes out once in a while. We know that.
well, yeah, that doesn't count. Yeah.
Right. But in terms of major issues, like I don't even remember any really. And I've had just like since I moved into here 5 years ago, it's like the cable go out for 3 hours, for 6 hours, for a day. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I would still argue that you have major issues, but anyway,
Wow.
we
So the distance part really isn't softening your edge. You're just taking shot. I'm on the ropes, and you're just hammering me.
so a few episodes
On a
back.
lake, I hope you don't drown.
Take it easy there, buddy.
Well, what is this? I got a message here. I don't want to do an update. No.
Yeah, that's good. Why don't you look at that while we do a podcast?
Wait, you can keep going.
I'm talking to you.
And I'm listening. I can clear that away. Oh, what? You weren't able to get another cheap shot in the last 10 seconds.
I'm trying to get somewhere here, and you got to get all defensive about anything I say.
Well, I'm on the ropes.
So anyway, several episodes back,
Yes. Yes.
we had Mr. Merle Ramsey on the show.
We did.
And he came on and he was
Hardcore Harry.
Hardcore Harry, and we had him on. We were talking to him about his ring rental business that he runs, but we also discussed an upcoming match that he was going to have against one of my old rivals, Mr. BD Smooth. Smooth has worked for Merle for several. I mean, it's well over 10 years now. I'd say. I think is what he said basically, like 2011 to now. So that's 10 plus years, and they had a match in a steel cage, and apparently prior to this, Merle had fired Smooth, and so they were going to settle this match in a cage, and if BD Smooth wins, he gets his job back. So I thought it was important that we report on the results of that match. BD Smooth did come out victorious, which lined up with the polls we took on that episode. And not only regained his job, but has risen to CEO of rentalwrestlingring.com now.
But where does that leave Merle? Is Merle still in the company, or
it would seem so? I think Smooth kept him on. I think he kept him on.
But wouldn't Merle own the company still? But BD, like, we got to figure out this structure. Well, I don't think Merle put his whole company ownership on the line.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Wild, crazy stuff happens in wrestling. You never know.
Yeah, it's true.
He might have just tanked. He was on here talking about how great business was and how everything was going. Well, maybe he just tanked it. I mean, granted, he was going into a match with BD Smooth. It seemed like a safe bet. So, but I saw pictures of it. It was a bloody affair. So it looks like Smooth at least earned the victory.
Well, unfortunately, we don't know the whole story. We don't know if there was chicanery. We don't know. Were you involved? Maybe you went to help your old partner, because although you were rivals, he was also a big fan of yours.
He ended up becoming a stalker fan. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, I just thought it was important that we updated everybody on the Smooth Merle situation, and if anything changes, because they could have a rematch, and perhaps Merle may regain control. You never know. So we'll see.
Maybe BD will put the company up in other matches. You could challenge him, and it could be Rent a Ring or else.
Rent a ring or else. Yeah, that would be good. I would be fine with that. I would definitely not be the one setting up the ring, though. I'll tell you that. I would be hiring other people. I'd keep Smooth on for sure. I'd keep Merle on. You know, you ever give up this journalist, thing you've been chasing, you're happy to hire you as well. So
Wow, thank you. It's awfully big of you.
yeah, I think it's also important that we should note to everybody. We have resurrected the YouTube channel. I believe we may have talked a little about it, but we resurrected the YouTube channel. There is pinfalls and pinfalls retro on there, and then interview episodes of the Johngy URLs podcast, and other future things to come, and then related videos. We saw our friend Cameron, who is now going by the name Regan Lydale. We saw her in her fifth match at the Emporium, and she took on GPA, a veteran of freelance wrestling,
An amazing
and
match.
in a great match. I mean, it was at least 10 minutes, and uh, everyone is giving her really positive reviews. But that video is up on the YouTube channel. You can check that out. A lot of views on it, and good comments on just her performance too. People leaving comments on there and stuff.
I've
So
watched it.
you'll also,
I probably saw it better there than I did in person because I had that
yeah,
guy that was like 6'6" standing in front of me.
yeah. You may also notice that we finally have a logo. It's finally happened. Finally have a logo. T-shirts are in the works. Um, Candy Rich Presley, who did the logos for Eric St. Vaughn, for Body Magic, and Special Forces in Resistance Pro. Um, I took the concept to her, and she did a great job of making a reality. And we had talked at one point about having sort of like cartoon versions of us or something like that somehow involved. And then that was like my roadblock. And so then that's when I decided like just a text only type of logo. And then as she was working on this, she just randomly sent me this banner where she had made cartoons of me and John. And I had never even brought it up to her about doing it or anything like that. And she sent them, and I was like, that's perfect. I was like,
She
that's
nailed
great.
it.
Yeah, she did a really good job. Um,
I love it.
and it's funny.
I absolutely
I
love
was
it.
showing the artwork last night to some of the guys here, and they were all saying they're like, I wouldn't know that was you specifically if I didn't know it was you. But they're like, but I know who that guy is. John, they were like the point of view, like that's Johngy for sure. I'm like,
Now,
so
how? I was going to say, like, I mean, obviously,
a lot of these guys, they've seen your videos and they were at our pro shows and stuff. They know who you are and stuff. Some of them may even listen to the show, but
but
they
I'm
thought
saying,
the
like, I mean, it captured the spirit, and I love it. But I wouldn't say it's like, I mean, I don't know if people would know. Oh, hey, that's John G.
well, I don't know. That's what they said. So take it up with the guys here. You want me to go grab a few of them?
No,
They're roaming around the place.
no, I'll take it. I love the logo. That's all that really matters.
Yeah. So definitely it's the John G URLs just on YouTube. Just put in the John G URLs podcast and on YouTube, and you'll be there.
T-shirts are forthcoming.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just a matter of time before we get before they're up in the Pro Wrestling Tees John G's Beat store. But we will let everyone know. Maybe by the time this thing airs, they'll actually be there.
Yeah. And then if we and we'll just put the link in there.
I
So
keep checking my phone to make sure it's waiting for the approval email.
yeah. No, she did a great job, and the idea behind it initially was I wanted something that was a little more like cartoony and playful, and so she kind of mixed the fonts of like that's all folks and the Warner Brothers type of thing, but also kind of like some cartoon like Cuphead style kind of font for like Orals, um and it just worked really well. And then she had another great idea, which was to take that and make like a black and white version of it too, like an old black and white cartoon. And I was like, that looks awesome. That looks awesome. And the thing is, an old rule in like making t-shirts, especially like wrestling shirts, is don't make white shirts. But the gray logo just looks much better on a white shirt. Like we tried it on a black shirt and it just like fades into it or something
Yeah.
like that, you know. So it needs to have that contrast. But it looks great. You just got to keep it clean. Don't eat like, sloppy joes in
So
your white.
we will have the color version for at least initially. We'll have the color version on black and
Yes,
the white version on a white. Those will both be available for 19.99.
yes. Very reasonably priced. Considering what you'll be able to get for them on eBay, I think,
Oh, easy.
you know,
And
especially. Go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, and Pro Wrestling Tees often has sales. So either
Yeah,
follow, when they do have a sale, we'll obviously put it up on the John GRL's network, social media stuff, and our own individual pages. So, you could also wait until they have usually 20% off sale.
yeah. So there you go. That's exciting.
It is. Now, my only question is, I don't know. They don't make hoodies. I would love that in a hoodie.
That would be a great hoodie, to be honest. Yeah, I love the logo. I would gladly wear all sorts of stuff with it. And we got to make some swag. We need some stickers. We need some buttons or something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I mean, places for that
Yeah,
would have to go to your end. But I'm gonna see if they have to make hoodies. I know they make hoodies for other things. I don't know why they wouldn't make them. Why they wouldn't allow them in like my store, the wrestler store. But once it gets settled, I will email them and ask them if there's possibilities for that.
yeah. I would definitely get a hoodie for sure, or even just like a zip up, jacket or something like that. Whatever. Um, so I am currently, as I said before, here in Cassopolis, Michigan.
And he has no idea where that is.
No, I mean it's I don't know, half hour into Michigan. I mean it's not really like deep into Michigan.
How do you spell Cassopolis?
Cass Opolis.
You're lucky. I have a lot of Greek friends. I went to
I'm on.
school with Cassopolis.
I'm staying in a lodge. It's called the Blue Spruce. If you Google it, you can check it out. It's pretty cool. You can see all the pictures of the inside and the outside of it and everything. And it is planted right on Stone Lake, which is the lake I almost drowned in last year that John keeps bringing up. Um,
May I interrupt?
yes, please go ahead.
Cassopolis is due north of Elkhart, northeast of Michigan, kind of halfway between Benton Harbor and Michigan City, but east of both of that, and way south of Kalamazoo. And yeah, so you basically go up to Michigan City. Before you hit Benton Harbor, you take an east turn and go for probably about 20 minutes, and you're in Cassopolis.
Yeah, that sounds all right. There you go.
One of us needs to know these things.
Hey, I followed the GPS and I'm here. That's all I need to do. I don't have.
Yeah, that's the trouble with you kids. You follow GPS, and what happens if GPS goes out? Then you're
I'm screwed. No,
oh,
I'm screwed. I don't know.
yeah.
I won't be into work for a while. No. So anyway, I'm here on what we call Guys Weekend, which is now really more of a week. But it started as a long weekend, kind of a Labor Day thing, and the participants are mostly people I've known since I was in like the seventh grade and up from there through high school. Um, and some of their younger brothers and their friends and stuff are here too. So guys like my brother would know he would know everybody here actually. But so they do this once a year. They've been doing it for about at least 10 years now, I think. This is only my second year making it out for it. But it's so this place it's a lodge. I mean, it's got I think like I don't know how like 10 or 12 rooms or something like that. The room I'm in is a shared room, so it's got two sets of bunk beds and then a regular bed, which I've already claimed. And
No way. How did that go? How did you claim the regular bed?
it's first come, first serve. And the first day, some guys so yesterday was the first day, but some guys don't get here until like tonight or tomorrow, like got work or whatever. So when they get here, they end up taking whatever's left over, But I got here first, and so I get the big bed.
Do you get to
So,
pick the room, or is it this is your room, you pick your bed?
well, here's the thing. So there's rooms like this one where it can sleep five people, and if I wanted, I suppose I could squeeze another person in my bed with me. Uh, but there's other rooms that are singles too. Now the singles go to the veterans. It's a hierarchy. So if you are from guys' weekends past, you get first dibs on the single room. But you also pay more if you have a single room too. If you're in a shared room, you don't have to pay as much. Splitting everything. We get a big list of everything that we're going to need for food and everything, and then we send a bunch of dudes off to Costco, and then they buy everything, and they come back with like pounds of bacon and like 100 eggs, and and all this stuff. And we have amongst us quite a few chefs, and so we are continuously making breakfasts,
Oh dear
lunch,
God, you're not going to make a hot dog
dinner.
omelet, are you?
No, I am doing dinner tonight, but I am making my chili. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, and it's in the slow cooker right now. It's got about 4 more hours still, I think. But yeah, everyone's pretty excited about it. So no, I did not do a hot dog omelet. Um, but in the morning though, I mean, like there's the waffle makers going, there's pancakes, there's like everybody's just cooking stuff. It's just the kitchen's going like all the time. And so, but we've got a schedule too, like so and so's in charge of dinner this night and he's making this. And it's like, so we know what all the meals are going to be. Like Saturday night is always New York strip steaks and baked potatoes and corn or something like that. Last night was taco night. One of the guys, George, makes a real great spread for tacos. And now we have so much left over that people are just still making tacos during the day today. Um,
Are there any vegetarians or vegans among the group?
I don't believe so. No,
That's interesting. You would think there'd be one.
no. And we got about 15 or so people here. And it's a big place. So there's a game room. Well, it's really a theater, to be honest. It's about like 3 rows of like couches and then a big monitor or a big drop down screen and a projector. And that room also has a pool table in it. But what we do is we hardwire all of our video game systems into the internet, and then we all bring monitors, and we all can sit in there. And that room is the game room, and that thing's going 24 hours a day. There's always somebody in there playing. Like you get up at like 6 in the morning, and you'll see people who still haven't gone to bed yet, and and there's people who like haven't woken up yet today too. And it's I'm on Eastern time here, so it's almost 3 in the afternoon, and they'll probably start waking up in the next hour or so.
No, it's almost 4 in the afternoon.
Time is it by you?
2:47.
Oh, well, my computer I guess didn't switch over, so yeah, so it is almost 4. So
Doesn't know the time, doesn't know the location.
I don't need to. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation, and I'm still here doing the show, man. Come on, give me some
Tell
credit.
that to the committee. It goes nowhere with me.
Wow. Anyway, so we also the place comes with a boat. We went out for a rope spin in the boat this morning.
Motorboat?
Yeah,
How
well,
many
like
more?
it's like a uh, like 10 or 12 people.
All right.
So it's like a pontoon boat or whatever they're called. I don't know.
Oh, well, wait a minute.
I mean, it's got a motor. It's got a motor on it. I mean,
But
it's
it's not a speedboat. It's more of like you said, pontoon.
yeah, right. Like you would take a tour on it probably or
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
Yeah. No, no, it's not like you're gonna go. Yeah, no, a speedboat would hold like 3, 4 people or whatever. But no, it's anyway. It's a beautiful day here. On YouTube. camera and just give you, this is the view outside my bedroom right here.
Very nice.
And yeah, it's the lower deck there. Yeah, so so we have all the food and everything, and there's board games, there's video games, there's drinking, there's smoking, there's all sorts of just, but it's also like, you know, it, we're all a bunch of guys in our 40s. A lot of these guys have kids and stuff. We're not like,
You're not going to tear down the house.
we're not tearing down the house. No, we're very like, as soon as we use a dish, we clean it. We're very we're very good guests in this house. And this is, I don't know how many years they've reserved. The people who own this place actually own a few houses on this lake, and they've stayed in some of the other ones. And then as guys weekend got to be a bigger and bigger thing, they ended up having to come to this one, which is the biggest one on the lake. So but we always have to reserve it a year in advance, and so I think we already have it for next year.
Nice.
So but it's nice and it's fun, and it's, like I said, I'm hanging out with a lot of people that I have known a long time but don't get to see much of. I get to get away and not be at work, and not have to think about anything. My neighbor's taking care of Lily, so I don't have to. I know she's in good hands, and yeah, so far just having a good time.
Are there any movie nights?
There have been movie nights. I believe Top Gun is going to be featured sometime during this trip. And what was another one? I don't remember what the other one was, but I did hear there was going to be a Top Gun. Although I feel like we did that last year,
I
but
wouldn't
maybe
have
there.
guessed Top Gun.
Yeah,
No offense. I mean, it's not a statement, but it wouldn't seem to be that. Like, I see more of either like a party movie or like a superhero movie.
no, this is an interesting group of guys, and they just like that's very much their jam. They really love just that classic old school, 80s fucking action movie type thing.
All
Yeah, I don't
right.
know. Uh, but I feel like they watched it last year, but are going to do it again this year. I think last year they were getting ready for the new one and they were excited, so they watched that, and now they're watching. They've seen the new one, and now they want to go back and rewatch it again. I don't know. I've only seen Top Gun once, and I thought it was all right.
It
So,
was all right. Yeah, I wouldn't
but I mean,
rave
like
about it.
for a lot of these guys, it's like they saw this as a kid and they've seen it like 1,000 times. It's like Star Wars to them.
Yeah.
It's like so. So when the new one came out, they were losing their mind, and they told me, "You got to go see it." I'm like, I just didn't care about the first one enough to find out what happens afterwards. So, but everyone said it was great. So, but anyway, yeah, that's what's going on here, Cassopolis, Michigan, Stone Lake, very nice.
Any fishing?
Not for me. There's a guy who's been out here for about 8 hours now, though, working all over the lake.
Catch anything?
I don't know. I mean, he keeps, he sits in a spot for about a half hour or something, moves over and finds a different area, and I don't know. I don't know how he's doing. He looked annoyed when we were motoring around the lake because we were just doing laps. It's a big lake, but I mean, at some point you come back around to him and disrupt the water. But what do you want?
Yeah. So
What
I
do
went
you
to a weird event last weekend.
Yeah.
It was the wrestling showcase. It was part of the whole big wrestling in Chicago weekend, right?
Yeah, I saw pictures or something. Yeah.
So there was originally it was originally supposed to my friend and I had passes for the showcase, if you will, which is supposedly a meet and greet with some wrestlers, obviously, and then a set of matches. So then I think what happened was I don't think they sold enough tickets. So they combined a couple events. They combined that with the Money from Mongo live podcast or live streaming podcast, which was Jim Ross, Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff, Mick Foley, Jeff Jarrett, and Conrad Thompson hosting it. They were all in
Holy
a
cow!
ring. Yeah, and we had
Yeah.
about maybe 200 people in this room, and it was set
Wow,
up like a wrestling ring.
that is one lineup right
But,
there, man.
but here's like the first weird part. The first weird part was they're trying to raise money for Steve Mongo McMichael, former Bear, former wrestler who has ALS.
Yeah, yeah,
So they're saying, They didn't collect from anybody in the audience. They like, send in your money online, go online, whatever. And a bunch of us were talking like the power, the star power they had in the ring, and they were in there for an hour talking. If they would have taken photos or signed autographs, those guys, they could have raised. There was 200 people in the attendance. They could have probably raised 20 grand just from us taking pictures.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they
So
didn't. None of them did. They
yeah,
they
a
were in the ring
wasted opportunity, huh? Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
And,
No, I agree. I agree. I agree. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you really want to help the guy out, it wouldn't take much just to go out there and, do some photos and sign some autographs and stuff like that.
they were
I
there
mean,
anyway.
have all those guys. I mean, man.
Yeah, and you got your audience right there. You got 200 guys that are big into wrestling. They would have paid, who knows, $50 more, whatever.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, if they're at that event, then they're obviously big enough fans there where they, and then if they had advertised it ahead of time too, they probably would have drawn more people too.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
then
I don't know what their capacity was. Maybe 200 is all
well,
they
for
could
that
have.
room, it was probably about maybe 350. They had a
Okay.
small ring. They had a 12-foot ring, which was really strange too. Because
Yeah.
then they ended up wrestling in that. And then that was the whole thing too, where it's like they were making these announcements. Well, you bought a ticket, but the ticket, we had to rearrange things. So if you had, this seat, you might not have a seat, but go in there and claim whatever seat you want, and it's yours, unless somebody else already had it. And it was like nobody knew what the hell was going on. But it
Right.
turned
Yeah.
out there wasn't enough people in there anyway, so it didn't matter. We all had whatever seats.
Yeah.
The meet and greet was cool. It was like Chelsea Green and a bunch of cool wrestlers. They were all cool. John Morrison and stuff. Or excuse me,
Oh,
his name now, Johnny Showcase, I think.
I
But,
haven't kept up. Yeah.
but the wrestling was then they had an 8-man tournament to crown the wrestling showcase champion. And then they had a one singles match with our pal Cal Hero versus somebody else from Ohio Valley, Luke Curtis. And then they had a women's match for the MLW title was Taya Valkyrie versus Chelsea Green versus Deanna Perrazzo.
Hmm.
So Karen Jarrett was the GM of the night. There was some chicanery during that match. She comes running out. I'm not going to let this match end like that. Things are going to be clean under my watch. We're restarting this match. They restart the match. It goes boom, like within 10 seconds, Taya Valkyrie wins, and that's it. The men's match comes out, and I won't go into the whole thing, but there was this whole weird setup where Cardona was injured, but he was faking it. Now he's back in. It was screwed Tatanka completely, but he didn't say, like, he didn't come out saying it.
Tonka was there.
Tatanka was in the tournament, yeah. So, and even after all this weird stuff happened in the match, then Brian Myers, Cardona's friend, comes out and things got like really nuts. Karen Jarrett doesn't come out to keep things clean during this match. She only did it during the women's match. So this match ended with a big cluster, and Cardona, walked out the champ. So it was like, it's the thing that bugged me is there was absolutely no consistency throughout the wrestling card. They made this big deal, a big announcement beforehand about if a wrestling gets injured, here's the procedure, and then a wrestler got injured and they didn't follow the procedures at all.
Wow.
But
Weird.
yeah, so whatever. But yeah, so that was my strange wrestling tale for the weekend.
Wow. That is bizarre.
It was
A lot of big names on it. How much was it to get into that thing?
We paid like $30, but we weren't supposed to get into the money from Mongo thing. But again,
Right.
I think they just didn't have enough people. But for the meet and greet, you had to pay the
Well, if they didn't
individual.
have enough people, then like I said, if they had advertised like you're going to be able to get photos or autographs and stuff like that, they would have packed that
Oh,
place.
easy.
They would have
Yeah.
packed it. And if they were really trying to raise money for the guy, you think they would just, I mean, like it takes nothing to do that. It takes absolutely nothing to do that.
This is what I'm saying. With 200 people, they're
Yeah.
already in the ring for an hour. They could have got through that 200 people probably in about maybe 2 hours tops. We've seen photo ops and all that. It's assembly line.
Right.
They could have raised a ton of money. Now the wrestlers outside in the meet and greet, you had to pay for them, but they're all I think $20, which is really low for that. Usually at conventions they're a lot more than that. There's some AEW stars.
Sure. Yeah.
But that money was theirs. I think that money was
Right. That's not going to the cause. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
well,
anyway.
that's wrestling, man. you know.
Well, I say the story because as we were talking, the other night about actually running a show or something,
Right.
this
There's
is the
just some
one.
things, there's some things that just seem like real obvious, avenues to take when you're trying to pull off a successful show. And it's like, I mean, I know everybody thinks they would be the best promoter, but but seriously, like I look at like every promoter has like some sort of Achilles heel, laziness seems to be the most consistent
Well,
one, which I don't understand because it's like why start something like that and then like barely take care of it? It's like, you know, you got to water that plant every day, man. You got to put in your time. And I just, but I mean, you can see like certain things like, well, they don't ever, they don't draw any money because they don't ever do sponsorships. And it's like, well, that's a pretty basic, that's how you make money in the pro wrestling business. I mean, even on like the WWE level, they're making money from the sponsors paying
absolutely.
for all that. I mean, like that's it. They're not making the money on the gate, The gate's just like it's nice and it's extra and it's income, but it's not keeping the lights on. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's just yeah, you see certain things like that and you go to a show like that, and you're just like, I just like how do you not see that
Well,
this could have very simply
yeah.
been could have done something where you would have like with minimal extra effort gotten to the goal of raising money for this guy without like it could have been so easy and so much more fruitful than it was. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I'm really, and I'm not going to bore everyone with all the details. There was like 10 or 15 other little glitches that were just dumb. And you're right. Everyone thinks they could run a show and all that. I get it, but there is like a checklist in my head of things that if you're going to run a show, these are musts.
Yeah,
And why, how, and why they miss signage. Put signs up.
right,
Line starts here. Here's where the show is going to be.
right.
VIPs here.
Yeah,
Little things like that. It costs nothing, like 10 cents to make print a sign.
it's just yeah,
It
yeah.
put signs up there,
It's
or
a
have
lack.
somebody standing there who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a lack of organization. You need to approach it like a show. I mean, you need to have someone who's the director and who's delegating all of the various things that need to be done to certain people, and you need to have people who are just in charge of you know, getting the ring up. You need people just in charge of getting, the table set up and, someone who's just in charge of the music. And that's their only thing that and I understand it can be hard to staff that sort of thing, but it's, I don't think it's as hard as I think it sounds like a daunting thing. And it's like, where do you get all these people? You know how many students you could pull out of a wrestling school and just get them to come out and help just so and for their sake, just so they can start making connections. They get to meet all the other wrestlers. They get to they get a lot out of it, and they're happy to come do it for nothing, other
Well,
than the experience.
I would even say the fans. You could have, a lot of conventions like Fan Expo, C2E2, whatever. They take a volunteer and they give you a pass. Okay, you work all day today and you get a pass for tomorrow, or you work eight
Right.
hours today and you get the rest of the day to do whatever you want.
There's still there's ways to do it, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's just but people are like, well, like who are we going to ask? We can't get the wrestlers to do it, and it's like, well, you don't have to. I'm like,
no, you don't
there's
get the wrestlers to do it.
No, there's other ways to staff a show like that, I mean, especially with something like that where there's a lot of people who, yeah, you could have fans, especially if you have people who are like, we always had regulars, a lot of companies have their regulars and stuff, and some of those people would love to be able to help out and,
Yeah,
feel like they're contributing to the show somehow. If they, tore tickets at the door, they, think it was great. I mean, give them a T-shirt and they're happy. And
and
it's
for the
like,
love of God, start it on time.
yes, please. It's just start it on time. And I will say, um, that when we have been to
Freelance.
yeah, when we went to the two freelance shows, they start right on the button.
Yeah.
and it is noticed. I also, just in general, do want to say that from what I've seen, I have seen Freelance online plenty, but now that I've actually been to a couple of, they're smaller shows, they're like, weeknight shows and stuff, so it's not one of their big events, but um, I'm very impressed with how efficient they are, the way that they run it and everything, but also the level of quality and the performance in the wrestling
Right.
too. I thought everyone who was in any of those matches were great. They were great matches, um, very solid. Um,
The only thing I didn't like, and it's at that place, and it's you know about it. It's not like it's not a surprise. It's not a goof. It's just the place. It's just that setup. I didn't like standing there.
yeah,
You're
there's no
standing three deep. It's and there were people behind us. We were actually in the upper end of the crowd.
It was
And I'm
packed.
older,
Yeah.
and I get it, But I mean, they also do shows where there are seats, so
Well,
it's not
see,
a freelance thing.
no, no, no. Here's the thing. I I don't mind the standing, and I get it, but I don't think you should charge $20 though. Then to get like if you because you're spending $20 at a regular show, you get a chair.
That's true. Right, right.
So if you're not getting a seat, then like $15 or something. You know, but it is the nature of the venue too. It's just, I mean, like
Yeah.
even at like when Resistance Pro used to run out of Excalibur and even Bourbon Street. I mean, everyone there was standing. It's not like everybody had seats at that. I mean,
Well,
they may,
Bourbon Street, there were a lot of seats. Excalibur, I don't remember. I was in the top deck, but I
yeah,
chose to be in the top deck.
yeah. I mean, there
Well,
were there were seats on the levels in Excalibur, but if you were on the main floor, there wasn't really, you were just standing there.
Freelance's next show, I believe it's the 23rd. They're going to be at the Logan's, the Kedzie or Logan Square Auditorium, kind of an old building, a cool old building, and
Yeah, they've
there
run out
will
of
be
their.
seats there.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
should be seats there.
No, I think they've run out of there many, many times
Yeah.
actually. So, and I'm certain that there were seats there. So, but yeah, no, I wanted to say I was just very impressed with them as a company and the quality of performers, and seeing Regan Lydale out there in her fifth match, just killing it, was awesome. Totally had the crowd on her side.
Oh man, amazing.
She is supposed to be coming on the show, so we'll get to talk to her more about that coming up soon. So,
Yeah,
you
I'm
got anything
excited.
else there, Mr. Rob Lesky?
Well, I'm excited because tomorrow night I'm going to see Haley Reinhart, local gal
Oh
who was
yeah,
on
yeah.
American Idol years ago.
Hmm.
You might know her from the Wrigley's Double Mint gum commercial, I believe she sings. Yeah, going to see her tomorrow in Aurora, so I'm excited about that.
Very good.
Not as exciting as being in Cassopolis, but hey,
Well, when we reconvene, you can talk and tell us how it was.
I will. I'll be meeting her beforehand.
Well, don't like freak her out and then like throw her off so she can't
I've
go
met
on.
her. I've talked to her several times. I've talked to her family several times.
She's like, so the callus is formed. She'll be okay.
See, there's the cheap
Yeah.
shot again.
All right. Well, I think with that, we'll part ways for today. John, if somebody wanted to check out a picture of you with your paper championship belt, um, where could they find you on social media?
You're so jealous. They could find me at John's Beat. Just look up John's Beat. You'll find me. More importantly, you can find me on the John's Beat, or excuse me, the John GRL's
Hey,
network,
hey,
all over the place, whether it's podcasting, YouTube, Facebook, social media, billboards. Yeah. And if somebody really has nothing better to do in their life and they want to look up Tommy Else, God knows why, what would they do?
well, they can find me as always at Tommy Else on the gram, on the twit. You can search Tommy Else on the tube, and now you can also check out the Johngy or Else podcast on the tube as well.
But
And you
not in
can,
the book. You're not in the book, huh?
but what?
The book.
No, not official. I mean, we still have the page, I guess, but I don't tend to it. And I thought I deleted it. And people still are like commenting on it and
No,
stuff.
it's still up there.
I know. I just feel like we don't need it, you know?
Well, there's no need to delete it. You
Well,
want me?
I mean,
You want me to handle the Facebook page?
yeah, you go ahead. I don't care. Go
All
ahead.
right, I'll handle the Facebook
All right,
page.
everybody, you heard it here first. So anything goes wrong on that Facebook page, you'll know who to blame. All right, buddy. Well, with that being said, coming to you from Stone Lake in Cassopolis, Michigan, I, of course, and who else but Tommy Els, as always, is the man from Skokie, Illinois, the paper champion, the paper new media champion, from johngysbeat.com, Mr. John Robleski. Say
Sure.
good, say good night, John.
Good afternoon, folks.